This is WARBIRD Radio.
World War II triple ace Bud Anderson was no stranger to WARBIRD Radio. He'd been on numerous times, telling stories of his incredible missions. But more importantly, I always loved it when he opened up and he gave us the real gold. His life lessons, the mentoring stuff, that was always our favorite. You can read about the shoot-'em-up stuff in his books, countless other interviews he gave, but as we celebrate his well-lived life, I pulled this conversation from our archive. It's one that's never been broadcast. There's no great war stories here, but there is plenty of gold from our late friend, along with some special words from his daughter, Kitty. This was recorded during a quiet moment at a busy aviation convention, and many folks thought these might have been some of his final days. But that wasn't the case. The late Bud Anderson was full of those kinds of surprises. He always outlived others' expectations in all manners of his life. Here now is this special, unedited conversation with the late Bud Anderson and his daughter, Kitty.
How old am I? I'm pretty old.
Yeah, how old now? Tell everybody how old.
I'm 96.
You have been on our station a whole bunch. We've interviewed you and your son Jim, even together. And we've talked a lot about mentoring. We've talked a lot about the combat. We have all that stuff. But what I want to know is at 96, the last 5 years, what have you learned about living life?
Well, I quit flying when I turned 90. And it was probably a good decision because my 96-year-old body parts are falling apart on me. And that's what I learned in life. You're going to have to take care of that, face up to that if you live this long.
Let's talk about that. How did combat, how did all that time in the Mustang, how did it prepare you for this last fight, this fight that you're in right now?
Well, never give up. And life's still worth living. I'm on dialysis now, which is a pain in the rear, but you have to do what you have to do. And in combat, that's you're dealt a hand of cards. It's different every time, and you have to be prepared for it. Our training helped a lot, and I'm guessing I'm learning the same thing. I'm getting a different hand of cards every day. Seems like.
You told me you've given us so much about mentoring and everything else, and I wanted to ask you that because you're a hard man to catch up with, and I wasn't sure when we were going to get to see you again. What do you want folks to know? What do you want everyone to remember when it's all said and done?
Oh, I don't care.
Oh, come on now.
I'll let history decide.
You're supposed to say my book is still on sale at Amazon and wherever books are sold, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've updated the book 3 times, yeah. And we have an ebook out now, and we're going to have a new edition, not a new edition, an updated edition, hopefully this year. We've been trying to work it out. We got a bunch of new pictures, color photos and stuff like that. So the book has been selling quietly but steadily, and we ran over 100,000 here a couple years ago.
Wow.
And we hope to give it a new shot of life here this year.
Well, Colonel Anderson, thanks for sitting down with us for a few minutes.
Sure.
Always a pleasure.
Anytime.
Thank you. Kitty, do you want to add anything? You want to say anything?
Well, sure.
I mean, just come stand over here with him, and I'll.
She's okay.
We've had your.
Yeah, you've had my brother.
What do we need to know about Colonel Anderson as a dad and the lessons that he's taught you over the years?
Well, I think I am not an airplane person, so I didn't know much about what he did until I was probably in my 20s. But I think, to me, it's his kindness and the way he took care of my mother when she was in the nursing home. And I think that's more important to me than shooting down airplanes.
You and I talked about that year in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. I said, when I look into those eyes, I see a fighter pilot, but I also see a man that's in love with his country and his family, and that's the real gold in you, I think.
Yes, I tell you, that's true.
Well, and I still see it today. And if you could, I think you'd go get in that Mustang and keep going, but your family speaks volumes for you. Did you ever have a chance with your dad to do something you might not have done or shouldn't have done, like when he flew that mission with your brother?
Oh, well, actually, I did get a ride with him once in a Mustang, in the Old Crow in Myrtle Beach, probably 25 years ago.
Was a reunion we had the airplane down there.
And my thought was, it was hot, it was noisy, and I think when I got down, and he didn't do much, I'm sure I was a little pale, little green when I got out of the plane. So, yeah, that was. And the other thing I remember growing up, going fishing, learning to shoot a gun, playing basketball, all those things, and to see him with my children and my grandchildren is incredible. And he was just fabulous with them, and still is. And they just really look up to him and are excited to see him. So.
And I got a great grandchild named.
Well, he has a granddaughter named Ellie, after my mother, and a grandson named Anderson, and another grandson named William Anderson.
A whole bunch of them running around.
A whole bunch of them.
You told me you were secretively afraid that no one was going to show up the first time you heard him speak at the Air and Space Museum in D.C.
Yes, that was in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was really the first time I'd heard my father speak, which was strange for me because growing up he was fairly quiet. And I thought, I can't imagine him standing up in front of people speaking, and I was afraid, who's going to come, because he's not famous to me.
And did anybody show up?
Oh, yeah, the whole place was full. And he sat and signed books for, usually it's an hour to 2 hours when he signs books, which and the best part is to sit there with him, and he takes time with every single person.
Even little redheaded 6-year-olds.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Well, thank you both for sitting down. I know you're busy today, and I don't want to take any of your time or more of your time up, but thanks for sharing some with us today.
Okay, Matt.
Thank you both, Kitty.
Thank you.
General Bud Anderson flew west on May 17th, 2024, at the age of 102. You can still buy his book, To Fly and Fight. If you've not read it, you owe it to yourself to get a copy. It's available right now in print, digital, and audio at toflyandfight.com. It's quick linked in the bottom of this show story. Thanks for listening.